I realize that this presentation has been highly anticipated, and the delay on release has caused some anxiety. My goal was to finish it by Thursday of last week, and I began trying to compile the video with graphics and audio on Thursday night so that you could have it by the end of the work week on Friday morning. However, due to graphical conflicts within Microsoft's own software from the Microsoft Animations and 3D Objects, this video has been greatly altered from its beginning, and the compilation has required days instead of a couple of hours, which it usually requires for these large files around 2 to 4 gigs. Earlier this year, I began using Microsoft's presentation software as a carrier mode for this unique artistic expression. I am really enjoying this outlet as part of information management systems, and I could go on, but we'd better get down to business. Without further ado, welcome to Egg-Gnosis Part 18, The Art of the Possible. I am Melissa Cody Prater of Cavetronics Dimensional Art. The date of this recording is now Sunday, November, I think, like 18th, 19th. I did originally record this on Friday, November 17th, 2023, but I'm having to re-record this slide for the graphics. So the artwork featured herein was generated with AI software using scientist Brian Prater's formula for over unity. The animations you'll see are not products of Cavetronics and come from other free downloadable animation GIFs from various websites, and there might still be one Microsoft animation left in here if the video will compile with it. Otherwise, I'm going to have to take it out. When I was growing up, my mother always decorated for Christmas before Thanksgiving so that the holidays lasted a month, and Thanksgiving and Christmas gatherings and meals always looked so festive. This slide's artwork is in memory of this, and it makes me happy to share it with you all. I realize this may be laughable considering the forbidden Christmas decorations I heard in the chatter, so I lovingly and playfully have named this slide Deconstructed Christmas Tree, inspired by the modern millennial menu. And if you have seen any of the PDFs that were floating around that I had put up of this video before I could not compile it, there was literally a cedar tree to the right, which was an empty Christmas tree, which I had to take out because Microsoft doesn't like its own 3D objects. Cavetronics is turning up the heat in Thanksgiving to deliver a special message, which I hope is well received in the love it is created and freely given to all who hear it and receive it. We're going to the heart of the matters today and uncovering the truth. As always, it's business first, and we'll start by eliminating the First Amendment of the United States Constitution. Talk about Prater's new technology for safe, smart electricity, and discuss the reality of our situation and some information about moving forward. In part 2, when the lights are off, Prater's formula for over-unity is seen like never before, Thanksgiving style. From what I can glean from the abstracted chatter I hear from you all, on my end, it sounds like you want to see our beloved Captain Caveman is still alive. So without further delay, here is Caveman on camera.
My definition of it for me, the act of giving is an act of teamwork with others involved, so that's why I included you. I'm going to give you something on it. Giving to somebody, that's participating in a teamwork, is my definition of Thanksgiving. We're giving thanks for all the people participating in the team here. So it's a happy Thanksgiving for me. we all come together, and if everybody done that, how many possibilities can you come up to pass it on and give it to others? We'll make a large teamwork of the world. Well, we could be giving a lot and feeling a lot better and participating in a whole lot more things. The world could be in better shape in no time. So happy. There's the happy part. It makes me happy to think that of my definition. See y'all next time.
Today's message is meant to pull you out of your misery with some killer art featuring cornucopia over unity, where we at Cavetronics show you again the transition from old to new using over unity to spruce up some old-fashioned type artwork with a new twist in part 1. Be sure to stay tuned until part 2, because I'm quite sure you don't want to miss the light show in the Thanksgiving After Dark 2023 edition. Also, I want to mention that if Cavetronics dimensional art may seem to imply extraterrestrial origins of this work in some people's minds, I would like to state plainly that our knowledge comes from our scientific understanding with the guidance of the Holy Spirit when necessary to ensure that we stay focused on the mission. And as far as the cosmic backgrounds go, for the most part, I just really like the universe, and I'm inspired by things like star nurseries, trillions of different planets, and the unlimited number of possibilities that our future may reveal. To set the stage for this presentation, and perhaps more to come, in this time of stability among ourselves as a people, it may be difficult to find the common ground needed to move forward. And I put forth the obvious cohesive structure that binds our reality through an agreement we the people made hundreds of years ago. And that is the U.S. Constitution. So to begin this presentation, I present to you the song that many of us love so much, America the Beautiful. The Constitution of the United States is our unifying factor, which was so highly refined in its crafting that it is applicable to use anywhere the people agree to it. However, for this presentation, I will focus on the United States and Who-Hub. And these topics begin with this presentation, starting with the First Amendment. When asked to define our American rights, we often think immediately about the Bill of Rights. Its plain language did not leave the Constitution up to pure interpretation, but rather it clearly stated aspects that are integral to an advanced society, such as the right to free speech, freedom of the press, religious freedom, and many other vital needs of a free mind, body, and soul. Some of the thoughts expressed herein are my own, such as this and the previous snippet of text taken from my former college courses on these matters. Some of the information comes from many other voices, and some of the information is directly inspired by the Holy Spirit's revealing certain mysteries to me due to my hard work to understand such things. In order of appearance within the First Amendment, freedom of religion is foremost, because it is key to our collective agreed upon reality, which is directed from beyond ourselves as part of our connection to our Creator. Therefore, the freedom of religion is universally given as a right that binds us legally to our Creator, and is described in the Bible in the phrase, each man under his own fig tree, as per the prophet Micah, chapter 4, verse 4. In this Constitution, governments should not promote religion over another, one religion over another, including practices such as funneling dark money going to various religious and church entities to influence politics and society. There is an ongoing war on words. So I want to double down on free speech, or else our human language that connects us could be destroyed like the ancient Gaelic, Native American, and tribal tongues everywhere. When it comes to the debate over free speech, it should be in conjunction with people's free will to choose, as in people's choice of behavior, actions, and their response. The Bible teaches us, thou shalt not kill. And I'm not supporting the killing of innocent persons outside of war or legal sentences. I will, however, defend myself, my family, my property, the United States Constitution, and we the people of this nation and planet Earth number 1, also called God's creation. And while on the subject of speech, it should be added that WhoHub specific, WhoHub approved content does not have anything to do with the free speech WhoHub users can enjoy on the platform once it is built and available. So to WhoHub programmers, WhoHub approved content has to do with the software's internal system of keeping information fresh, up to date, and accurate in order for everyone to be on the same page, which will hopefully improve our decision-making capability. Helping others is in everyone's better interest, and that is what this season is about. Sharing the bounty of what we have available on hand, which appears as if we have inherited a war-torn world. Yet Mother Nature's bounty is regenerative if care is applied. I appeal to you all again to show mercy to other souls and care for other souls as you would your own. This is why we nurture both friendships and alliances whenever possible. Within a systems engineering perspective, we benefit from shared resources, and we acknowledge the high value of certain resources, including the knowledge and experience from human labor and the intellect given to us by God Almighty, who is truly merciful. If this terrible situation has taught us anything, it should be that we each have a piece to the greater puzzle towards progress. Alex Jones aptly applied the term of Hegelian dialectics to describe the language used in these videos. I was not previously aware of that term. However, since childhood, I have been tapped into a priori knowledge from places that taught such methods, such as ancient Greece and ancient Egypt. Plus, I have honed my crafting of art and writing for decades, and throughout the years, observation of the cause and effect of these types of messages allowed me to learn how the public will react to various narratives. Hegelian dialectic language can be used as actionable statements for the collective conscious as a means to navigate large bodies of people en masse. In this way, both what is spoken of and what is not spoken of are vitally important to evaluate. I try to be as responsible as I can with these particular type presentations that feature beautiful over Unity art. For example, I do not discuss subjects that are outside of my fields, such as thousand-year-old tribal wars that I'm not directly involved in, or the healthcare industry and things of that nature, unless it directly involves me or trying to save the lives of people when I know there's something terribly wrong. The reasoning for the lack of discussion on these matters is so that I do not confuse the collective consciousness, and instead my messages are targeted broadly to create a distinction between truth and lies on specific matters of importance, as part of a mission to save human souls whenever possible. Additionally, I want it on the record that I am not responsible for how people will react, because people have free will and each person chooses what they do with the information. On the subject of the First Amendment, we can understand the power of speech displayed through the use of Hegelian dialectic techniques. This slide chart was inspired by a friend who made a process chart regarding information distribution and public reaction. This is a simplification of the process and from a slightly different perspective as the cultivator, practitioner, and speaker of the Hegelian dialectic language use. The process begins at the widest point, like the mouth of a river, and then narrows as the process moves along. So the process starts with a broad spectrum message, targeted like an arrow that cuts through the riffraff on either side. If you make the target wide enough, then you can narrow the response message when you repeat the steps. Therefore, before doing anything, you define your parameters, like programming AI. You set the boundaries, like a plumb line. You create, in essence, a net from the beginning. Some things will automatically fall through or jump out of the net. That's going to happen. It's expected. Start wide and narrow through the field, creating a path. I would like to point out some aspects of over-unity on this slide's artwork, such as on the right, in the main focal point, the black and blue tiles change color and elongate as visual descriptions of the movement or flow of energy through the medium. On the left, you can see how the tiled background curves from the wall and extends outward in another dimensional direction to become a table for the fruit and vegetables. Another thing that I would like to point out in the upper right-hand corner is what appears to be SOS, which I highlighted with twinkling stars. Although this cornucopia series did not generate any signature pieces, some of the artwork produced contained musical symbols and some text content which emerged from the AI and were not a part of my instructions, which I like to keep very basic and brief. People say that you can't make a good omelet without cracking a few eggs. I guess that explains the broken tiles from over-unity passing through the medium as it transforms the space around it in this slide's artwork. The ambiance can seem a little strange at first, but when you learn more about it, you can understand how to navigate it. It's kind of like being lagged out by a bunch of backseat drivers of your reality. Kabbalists, like mine and my husband's favorite, Rabbi Simon Jacobs, son of the Meaningful Life Center, teaches that a soul cannot ascend until it releases all of its songs, like a fine aged wine. The most beautiful songs are sung last as the grand finale, which is the meaning to the mystery from the New Testament book, John chapter 2. I recently heard a truther say that gold protects the wise, but I say that gold does not protect the wise. In fact, if life required gold to protect the wise, my husband and I would absolutely be dead many times over. And that's just for this lifetime. I know that this Egg-Gnosis series seems comical and lighthearted, but those are some of the ingredients required to make this vital information edible and desirable for a large audience during this era of a great awakening. We at Cavetronics have no gold, but we are wealthy beyond measure, overflowing with wisdom from God. That kind of help from above has such an overabundance and joy that comes from it, it is difficult not to share it. Like this artwork, it's beautiful and it should be displayed anywhere people want it. In these presentations that deliver a condensed pack of cultivated information, I like break times to admire the art. For this slide, I paired these images together because the left piece and background look like a banana in my opinion. Not all the images that I generate make it into these presentations, but I thought the piece on the right side looked especially interesting. It almost looks like a bow tie that depicts the flow of over-unity that moves clockwise around in a circular pattern around the abstract cornucopia and then up and out to the left. Also, I want to mention that when generating limericks on ChatGPT about over-unity, I did not agree with the results, which kept claiming that over-unity energy is only coming from leftover energy, rather than describing the transmutation process, of which it also utilizes if done properly. However, as I will explain, as I have again before, that over unity is a process of also using efficiency systems, which is described here in scientist Brian David Prater's formula for maximum systems efficiency, or over unity. There have been hundreds, perhaps thousands of lies spread about our existence and purpose. So I want to make it clear that at Cavetronics, our primary intention is not in specifically disrupting oil profits or in supporting the continued obsession with its overuse. Rather, we are here to offer solutions and aid with humanity's transition to sustainability through efficiency methods that can be implemented gradually, which will mitigate other economic or resource issues throughout the world. And although we are intimately familiar with the meaning of the term economic terrorism, we believe there is room for competition in the markets for everyone, not just a handful of monopolies. Also, our solutions do not necessitate the collapse of capitalism or invasive tagging of humans with divine souls like branded cattle. This slide's artwork describes the process of cosmic creation and distribution over long-distance nodes that start with a sync-up, and then the ideas flow into a chamber of thought nurseries, and then like starbursts, they rise to become fruit. Rather than go against the people I love as a carrot to receive fake freedom or reward, let me tell you how bad this situation is. God had to come in and unravel it. To thread that needle required mercy. On this Thanksgiving 2023, I want to extend a thanks, an invitation to the table to all who helped me bridge the communication gap and understand the situation, or game, as some call it, and you know who you are. And to that end I say, this better turn out to be a good movie. I prefer happy endings. Don't we all? Although we have an extended network of scientists, engineers, and inventors around the world, the work you see comes from a tiny staff of two. My husband continually invents useful technology that is futuristic regarding safety and sustainability, and of course, most everything we produce has built-in over Unity aspects. Caveman is chief engineer over IT and R&D energy. There are people who say they need money in order to produce fruit, but here at Cavetronics, producing fruit is what we do, and we would like to get paid for it, hopefully in the near future. This is an exclusive leak from deep within Cavetronics engineering, where we cultivate new energy technologies. Ready to hatch into existence is what scientist Brian Prater calls smart electricity management, which applies a new type of safe, smart electricity. Our bountiful solutions now include safe electricity, which will not require wall plug-ins, subsequently eliminating death from electric shock and decreased fires from the use of this new technology. The reason for those benefits are due to the technology's method of using load sensitivity as the driver for wireless energy that produces electricity to things like hair dryers or heaters or anything that you would use a cord to plug in a wall outlet typically. In its place, there will be a microprocessor built into the outlet location, which senses the load through monitoring ohm resistance, so that your body does not conduct enough of a load to activate it. Products made with this type of technology would make the world around us safer. For example, a hairdryer that used Cavetronics smart electricity would not electrocute someone in a bathtub filled with water if the hairdryer was dropped into it. This is one of many examples of what we continually work on here at Cavetronics because it's who we are and this is what we do. I realize that this message is slightly delayed. I have plenty of reasons for it. Another two bad teeth that need pulling right away. Too much to do in so little time. Plus our resources are limited as they always have been. But you can see what we do on very little. Just imagine if we had the resources to help the world in a big way. We know the meaning of the adage, necessity is the mother of invention. It means our needs motivate us to invent solutions as we have done in spades. As many of you may know already, certain entities have tried to overshadow our existence and maybe even tunnel any money that was supposed to be sent our way, of which narrative I derived from the chatter from the news and congressional arguments. However, to the best of our knowledge, we at Cavetronics have never been contacted by any large entity concerning any project or money of any size. Moreover, we have never been given money for operating costs unless that so-called funding is bundled with a false narrative that disguises funding as supplemental Social Security income. And for the record, we at Cavetronics do not offer a catalog for the military weaponry, which is probably why the funding never seems to get to us if it was ever sent. God is real and we are real people. Our narrative may seem strange, but it was tailored to breach through an exorbitant criteria of even stranger characteristics and behaviors in this construct, or what they call the game or movie. Yet we have so far threaded the needle so that the public can become aware of these important matters of our existence and the solutions on how to save humanity. To respond directly to Jordan Peterson, I appreciate the work you are doing in delivering an important message for this time to humanity. I have been following your recent work, and I am amazed at your grasp of the situation and ability to discern what is right for the people, especially in the universities, colleges, and various governmental types around the world. Your messages have been a bridge for their understanding also. Thank you, Mr. Jordan Peterson. I hope to work with you more in the future. From a game theory perspective, I think of the grifters as a bot swarm, of which could be used as a means of hiding something or someone, as I have spoken of before in a previous video. The birds have been gathering to piecemeal WhoHub humanitarian software to death for quick fortune for themselves, but WhoHub can't work long that way, and now they are figuring that out the hard way. It seems as if money may have been supposedly sent for development of various technologies, but the Democrats or others up the chain of command snipped off all access and communication about those funds long before we ever knew about them, until recently, from my discernment of the oddball chatter in the news stories and congressional arguments, which seem threaded into my reality. So I must admit that I truly do have selective hearing. So if I do not seem to respond the way you think I should, it is perhaps that I was listening for something else, some other question in my own mind and not yours, and guided by that to retrieve and reconstruct the language gap between us. So I really gravitate to those that have the most concise message and grasp of the truth, generally speaking. I know that it aggravates some people in this situation that I, in my own mind at least, seem to have assumed control. However, as I understand things, that's exactly what I'm supposed to do in this type of situation. 5D chess and all that. So, you can take it up with God and thank me later for saving lives if I can help do so. From what I can interpret from the chatter, my existence has been attacked from many angles, like a swarm of bots chasing me through time and space. Most of the details seem foggy, but I have been listening to your narratives and piecing together what fits, and it appears as if we are indeed headed towards ascension one way or another. The powers that ought not be fear this narrative. Truth resonates with people. It activates people like nodes within a grid. I also like how Bo of the fifth column, who inspired the title of this presentation, The Art of the Possible, puts it when he says, that tracks. I would like to echo Bo's message of tracking, which is applicable as real-world verification steps. This allows others to know who's who, because as the details are known, they can be tracked to trace out a pattern of behavior and existence, like the process of phase angle transition. When the details are collected together, those pieces align like a puzzle to show us the greater light of truth behind what would otherwise look like randomized events. For example, of how this works, consider the Egg-Gnosis series and the videos available at WhoHub Humanitarian Software on YouTube. When put together, they are like a signature. A signature is like a style, which we talked about more in previous videos. Our style at Cavetronics and WhoHub is over unity. I included another AI-generated poem for you here on this slide to read at your leisure. I'll let you judge the depth of the poetry craft for yourself. Also, If there is anything you missed in this presentation and would like to read it later, you can download the PDF via the link attached in the description, which will also be available at whohub.tech on the public forum, which is free to join and network your small business for your local hub. I am currently still building the site, which is really a placeholder for what will eventually be WhoHub Humanitarian Software. I have given more thought about the organizational structure of WhoHub Council, which I think will work best if it is divided into 2 or more groups, mainly between upper and lower. The upper council will concentrate on all things related to information technology as it pertains directly to the software and hardware aspects, whereas the lower council will concentrate on their roles as mediators between WhoHub and national or international interest and be an active part of WhoHub's think tank and leaders in their respective fields and departments. On this slide, I left some notes about what may become some of the lower council member positions, which I retrieved and edited from the presidential cabinet list of secretaries. Also, I understand that some of the presidential cabinet position field types may not have a specific crossover to WhoHub, such as the presidential cabinet position for Secretary of the Treasury, for example. Now that is out of the way, welcome to Guild Meeting. In this 5D chess situation we find ourselves in, according to many in the news and alternative news media sources, I feel that I must relay some troubling news. Everything from here on out throughout the video is off the books and behind the scenes, because apparently what I am doing here may be delivering a message of celebration to some, but doom to others, which may or may not be a saddening event, depending on the truth, if that may be revealed. So from what I understand, having gathered data from multiple angles, the worst part could be over, or it could just be beginning, depending on how we react to resolve our differences of organization and shared resources. Meet our think tank of friends here in the members only room. I want to share some additional thoughts for you to ruminate over. In this twisted language construct, I think it may be necessary to separate or distinguish and define one type of oil from another, much like in Genesis chapter 1, how God separated water from water. The oil at WhoHub and Cavetronics comes from us, and we live in the United States of America. That oil, in its loosely twisted way, as it ties into the Bible, actually relates to our energy in this case. Our work, our life's work, as you're seeing here. So in this odd world, I want it said, in this case, the Congress may have us mixed up in their language problems with some entity in Saudi Arabia, which, as far as the country and its resources, may yet be needed as an ally for oil production in a real-world application due to the limited supply we are told that exists after Biden's actions that have drained American resources. Also, one more thing. In response to what may be some random chatter I heard in the media sphere, it sounds like I may have a job offered to me around March or April of next year. However, if I'm also interpreting the smoke signals correctly, Those that may like to hire me would prefer that I didn't use cannabis. I am wondering if those are military types or if that position may be within my own company of PooHub. Currently, in my location, cannabis use is completely legal and without sin or harm to others. Some may not like marijuana, but I don't like mind games, psyops, and lies. So until things actually change in my life, we may be at an impasse because often enough marijuana can change a very bad day into a tolerable one. Plus, you should consider that the quality of my product, as you see here, is greatly enhanced with this use, and it does not disable my ability or willingness to work in the type of things that I do in the spectrum of information systems management. Yet I am eager to hear more about this if I'm on the right track with my interpretations of the chatter. To head off the bots in this unstable realm, the mention of Turkey or turkeys herein is not meant to be interpreted as any reference to the country of the same name. However, in this highly threaded reality construct that connects us, things overlap, and this is one meaning among many other things I mention that I do not want to be misconstrued. Nor do I want to have to walk each person of 8 billion on Earth through the basic steps of diplomacy, which you should already know how to perform. The truth resonates with people in their heart of hearts. From what I heard among the chatter, it sounds like our proposal for HooHub may have been plagiarized in part and submitted to the Dissent channel. I am unfamiliar with the Dissent channel, but I would like to mention another software program that educators use to check for plagiarism for essays and homework assignments, which is called Turnitin. If you check the Turnitin system, you will find my marketing proposal for HooHub, which may have been plagiarized, was submitted to Columbia College marketing class around April 2020. You may also enjoy another paper that I wrote, which should have been submitted around April 2021, about Elon Musk's management style in the workplace. Considering my current impoverished situation, and the fact there is an equal opposite bipolarized realm of existence to my own, there must be a horn of plenty waiting for me somewhere out there. Thank you for sticking with me through this thick portion of part 1, and I hope you new fish are digging Cavetronics dimensional over Unity art. Over Unity adds an interesting twist to the old-fashioned kitchen artwork. But now we're going to transition to new art, photonic art, of which I was inspired to do by President Vladimir Putin as per psychic request earlier this year. I recommend, if you like the next section that you're about to see, to watch the presentation titled 7D Photonic Art, Nature, Easter Eggs, and Mandalas, with discussion on society, AI poetry, and light art. Hello, I appreciate you making it this far with me in the video. If you will now join me in part 2, which will be a separate video, because I've been trying to compile this as a complete whole video for 2 days and since Friday, and it should have been online by Friday morning, actually before anyone even woke up, but it's now Sunday and I still don't have it compiled. I'm having all kinds of issues with resources. I'm out of resources on my old ancient computer here, and various things. I've done lots of edits trying to take down the graphics and everything else. Not sure exactly what the hang up is. Maybe it's just too big. But either way, I'm breaking this up into 2 parts, and if you will join me for part 2, you'll get to see the light show, provided that I can get it going. Thank you.